Alright, I'm going to be showing how to connect LegalServer, and then we're going to create a form agent that can act as a intake channel to LegalServer. So the first step is going to the admin page, which in the bottom left we can click our profile, and then click admin. Next we can click in the top right integrations, and on the left if we go to LegalServer, I'm going to go ahead and enter these two credentials. So it requires the site URL, so there's our demo site, and then it requires an API token or a bearer token, and then an optional name. So we're going to go ahead and connect that, and we should see right here everything's good. Everything's connected properly through the premium API. Now the premium API is not required for this workflow. Now that we've connected LegalServer, if we go over here and click agents, you can see all of my previous agents, but we're going to create a new one up in the top right. And the agent we're going to create is going to be a form agent. So it collects information through a guided conversation and then can process the intake. So I'm going to speed through this a little bit, but these are all settings you can of course configure. So I'm going to name mine just the intake demo. And one thing I'm going to change here is change this real quick. And this will be updated on the other version, but we're just going to process the intake instead of having the other jargon. So then we're going to click next. We're going to use one of the templates we already have here for a housing problem. And then we're going to skip this. And I'm going to fill these in. Of course, you'll want to add your actual terms of service and privacy policy. Now we're going to go to the preview. But before we begin our intake here, we're actually going to go back to our agent and turn on the LegalServer connection. So now we're back here. I clicked into the agent. And so what we can see here is now we can turn on LegalServer as it's connected. And what I'm going to do is change the intake program to demo. And then the default legal problem code, I'm going to change to other housing. And I think those will work well. And then I'm going to make sure to click save in the top right. Now, if I go back to the preview here, I'm going to go ahead and just change our layout to make it easier to see. We can begin the intake. So let's begin. So what I'm going to do is actually just speed up this process by inputting a pre-filled response. But you can imagine going through each of the different questions it's asking and filling it out. So we can see here I have all of my information here for the AI. And what we should see it do now is process all of these. And since it already has all the information, it should now make the intake process. So it looks like it's almost done here. It's quite quick. Okay, and that was just about 5 seconds later. Now we have an intake submitted. So now what I'm going to show is where that intake actually went on LegalServer. So here on LegalServer, our demo tenant, we can now see the most recent pre-screen date from today, which is July 28th. We can click in and begin our pre-screen process with all of the information needed to conduct the conflict check, and then of course go on from here. And it of course includes the pre-screen notes, which can be configured. And that is how you can use JTAI's intake agents to automate the intake for your clients. Thank you.